116 men line up for the final race on the program, the men's 20 kilometers. Some great names in the history of race walking amongst the competitors here, including perhaps the greatest ever race walker, Robert Korzeniowski of Poland, who's of course achieved most of his success at the longer distance of 50 kilometers, but he goes here wearing 2:06, a man who's won no less than 8 world, Olympic and European gold medals. And the world and Olympic champion, number 140, Jefferson Perez of Ecuador. He wears number 140, a man who's already won 2 World Cup titles. So here's this big field of race walkers. Ideal conditions on this second day of the IAF World Race Walking Cup. This competition, which began 40 years ago at Lugano, when it was contested for the Lugano Cup. There is the great man himself, Robert Korzeniowski, of course a great walker at 20k as well as at 50k, achieved the unique Olympic double with gold medals at both distances 4 years ago. This year he said he will concentrate just on the 50 kilometers in what may be his final season at the event. He's a man who's won everything that there is to win in the sport of athletics. Another former world champion alongside him, that's number 181, Ivano Brugnetti of Italy, world champion in 1999. Once again, we look to strong competition for the team title, particularly from the Chinese squad. Outstanding group of competitors there, many of whom set personal bests in their championships earlier this year. And the Russians. The individual honours just might be contested by such men as Korzeniowski of Poland and Perez of Ecuador. So up there, it's number 140, Perez already showing prominently. The Australian Nathan Deeks wearing 116, good to see him back in competition. Deeks, who was 4th in the World Championship at this distance in 2001, and he's the Commonwealth champion. Korzeniowski 2:06, 1:16 Deeks, 1:79 Robert Heffernan of Ireland, and he's certainly come through to prominence in the last couple of seasons. Robert Heffernan, the Irish record holder, at 1 hour 20 minutes 25 seconds. Perez in the yellow and blue just on the left of the screen, the greatest ever athlete from Ecuador, now aged 29, showing excellent form, won the World Cup in 1997 and 2002. And of course he won Ecuador's first ever Olympic gold medal back in 1996 in Atlanta. So a group of some 15 or so men. 20:02 the time for Brugnetti. Quarter-way stage, they've completed 2 of the 2.5 kilometer laps, and the team competition could hardly be closer between China, Russia and Italy. It's good to see a good team from Ecuador now. It's not just Jefferson Perez out on his own, but they've also got another very good competitor, number 142, Rolando Sacripe. Sacripe, who has already this year achieved a major title, winning the South American Cup in the absence of Perez from that race. Certainly the Spanish-speaking nations have built a great record at race walking, looking at Mexico and Spain, Ecuador as well. Bolivia have got a number of athletes. There's quite a tradition building there. Number 181, Brugnetti of Italy. Hasn't shown so much since he won the world title in 1999 after the disqualification of the Russian Guillaume Skurigan, but he's back in good form this year. Was 3rd in the big race walking competition in Tijuana in Mexico early this season. But what a wonderful competitor Korzeniowski is. He's wearing 2:06 in this race. Korzeniowski, now 35 years of age, set the world 50 kilometers record in Paris when he took the world title last summer, and at this distance has the best ever of 1 hour 18 minutes 22 seconds. The world best set by Jefferson Perez, also in Paris, at 1 hour 17 minutes 21 seconds. Vladimir Stankin of Russia, who's competing here, he was only 2 seconds outside that in the Russian Russian Winter Championships in Adler earlier this season. So at 10 kilometers, just Jefferson Perez under 40 minutes, with Brugnetti there of Italy. 1:19, Christophe Humet of Belgium, one of the lapped competitors. And it's the big two once again, as they showed earlier in the race. 1:40 on the right is Jefferson Perez, 2:06 on the left is Robert Korzeniowski, but plenty of company there. The likes of Nathan Deeks, the tall Australian, wearing 1:16, the biggest of that group. 1:81, Brugnetti still prominent. We've also got Han Yu Cheng of China wearing 1:27. Two Chinese athletes, in fact, up there. Also prominent, number 129. That's Liu Lunfeng. And Ilya Markov of Russia, another man with a super record, former world junior champion, European junior champion, went on to the Olympic silver behind Jefferson Perez in 1996. Markov wearing 2:20. He won the world title in 1999. But now it's still Korzeniowski and Perez as they just begin to whittle down the leading group. Brugnetti and Deeks just behind them. Also Markov and Liu. 15 kilometers reached in 59:34. Han of China also up there still. But this little group now down to 5. Markov in 4th place, Deeks in 3rd. 1:27 Han behind the Olympic and world champions Korzeniowski and Perez. So the world champions and world record holders at both 20k Perez and 50k Korzeniowski battling out this 20 kilometers race in the IAF World Racewalking Cup at Naumburg 2004. Just down to 3 now. Deeks is with them, but the other two dropping back. And China and Russia contesting the gold, with Italy now a little bit clear in 3rd, ahead of Ecuador and Spain. That's the team standings at the 15 kilometer point. Perez and Korzeniowski opening up a gap. The tall figure of Nathan Deeks doing his best to stay with them. The Australian, best of 1:18.14 for this distance in 2001. Also outstanding competitor at 50 kilometers. That's a distance which Perez has only tried a couple of times. 1 lap to go then. And Jefferson Perez pushing on, it seems, with Korzeniowski now having to hang on. Those two going clear, but Perez looks to be injecting the pace here and opening up a bit of a gap. A great man from Ecuador, wonderful record at 20 kilometers. After he won the gold medal at Atlanta in 1996, he walked some 300 miles from Quito, the Ecuadorian capital, to his hometown of Cuenca to honor Christ. He was also given a lifetime supply of yogurt after that Olympic victory. Well, since then, he's gone on to major titles, world champion, and if he can win the World Cup here again, it would be a 3rd win. And that's a record in the series of races in the history of the World Cup. There's 3 men who've done that before. Perez would become the 4th, and he seems to be going clear now. A man from Ecuador ahead of the great Polish walker Robert Korzeniowski. Nathan Deeks still in 3rd place, that man behind him. Well, it would be Australia's first ever medal in World Cup competition, so Nathan Deeks plenty to go for there, but out front it's Jefferson Perez opening up, and Jefferson Perez looks at his watch. It's not quite as fast as when he won the world title in Paris last year, but he's going into the history books as the third man to win a World Cup, or the fourth man to win a World Cup race for a third time. Jefferson Perez of Ecuador, the IAF World Cup champion at 20 kilometers, 1 hour, 18 minutes and 42 seconds. Another brilliant victory for the man from Ecuador. And in second place, adding to his long list of honours at walking, Robert Korzeniowski of Poland. He'll be bidding for 50 kilometres in the Olympic Games later. And looking back, it's the first Australian medal. Nathan Deeks takes the bronze for a time of 1 hour, 19 minutes and 11 seconds, and congratulated by the first two. And there's confirmation of the results. Good packing from the Chinese team. Han and Liu in 4th and 5th places. Brunietti of Italy taking 6th. Once again, a win for Jefferson Perez of Ecuador. And a lot of season's bests there in another very high standard event. And China then took the team title with 18 points, and a magnificent result for Ecuador, so capably led by Perez. They took the silver medals, with Italy taking the bronze. And I'm sure Perez will be delighted not only by his individual triumph, but also by the success of his teammates. Jefferson Perez, World Cup winner for the third time, joined on the top of the rostrum by Korzeniowski of Poland and Deeks of Australia. And although they weren't on the podium, very good packing from the Chinese competitors, finishing in 4th, 5th and 9th, took them to the team title. There it is, that's the happy faces of the Chinese athletes, team champions. Second team victory in this IAF World Cup, and a magnificent second place for Ecuador, showing that it's not just Jefferson Perez who can bring them honours. And third place in the team competition went to Italy, ahead of the more favoured Russians. So 2 days of really top-class race walking here at Naumburg in Germany. And now it's farewell from me, Peter Matthews.